Now that Black Lightning Season 2 is over, it's time to look forward to Season 3. Here are my top 5 hopes for Season 3. First up, I want better pacing. Now we all know the middle of the season drug when Khalil and Jennifer went on the run. To me, that was probably the worst part of the season, with a strong beginning and a strong ending. So I really want better pacing, and it feels like we should be getting that because there's plenty of material to work with, because we now have Markovia set up to be rivals. We have the green light victims on our end. Markovia also has their own meta-created humans. We also have the fallout of ASA having 3 of the main victims as well as some green light victims. We have the pod children being set free and those that escaped the ASA. We have Grace coming back with her powers and her relationship with Anissa. Anissa continuing her vigilante style of justice because her father doesn't approve. Jennifer's powers growing. And I think that can more than easily fill out these episodes to give us really strong episodes and content that don't feel laggy. Number 2 is more traveling, going beyond Freeman. Not necessarily Markovia, but I think a road trip to discovering more about the pod children. It'd be kind of like discovering a Children of the Week. They could be friend or foe or indifferent. I think there's a lot you could do with this kind of thing. And again, you can eventually go to Markovia and have the war outside of Freeland. Number 3 is I want more consistent storylines. I think the biggest problem with Season 2, besides Khalil and Jennifer's little outing, was that Anissa and Grace, while they had a storyline, it was spread out every 4 episodes, every 5 episodes. It didn't seem like there was enough there, and like when it seemed it was going to end this finale, like finales usually wrap things up, this one just skipped it completely and it's going into the next season. And I think stuff like that need to be wrapped up a bit neater. It's the same as how they drug out the podcast storyline for 2, now going on 3 seasons. There's just some stuff, it drags on too long. And I know it's supposed to be a big point of the story and it helps keep things going, but I think certain things like that need to be wrapped up. And just when we thought that Jennifer would be wrapped up with Khalil, he's coming back, which is good to have her deal with the fallout of that, and maybe he's changed, maybe he's the villain again. But then why make him a villain if he just went through this redemptive arc? So I think better control of their stories and what they have there. Again, they have enough content that they could easily do these stories in smaller arcs if they want to. Number 4 is I want more Black Lightning. He's the titular character of the show, and yet it didn't seem like Black Lightning did a ton this season. This season was more Jennifer's season and the ASA season, which I get, you know, Jennifer had her good moments, but for the most part, Jefferson stood around waiting for Gamby to tell him what to do, or he went to go rescue Anissa or Jennifer. And I wish we had more with him, because he had a little arc with his school and becoming vice principal at the beginning of the season, but suddenly he got the opportunity and it dropped that we haven't heard anything about the school in the past 5 episodes. And I know people don't really care about Jefferson Pierce as much as they want to see Black Lightning, but it's kind of like Clark Kent and Superman. You have to have both personalities to make the show work, and you can't just have one and not the other unless you're doing like some alternate timeline. And number 5 is that the pod children need to be doing something. I want more of them, because it's kind of like what Young Justice did, where there are pods there and things come out, people come out, and they affect the story. I think that could be really good, because again, you have some that want to be better, some that are so freaked out that, you know, they react and they have to take them down or something like that, or put them back in the pods. Some people are going to react very well, and I think this is a way to bring in some new characters and some new blood, other than just having the 3 main heroes with their abilities. And I know people are tired of the electric ability, but I think one character they could bring in, which I know people want, is Static. I think Static would be a very good character to bring in because he's more charismatic, childlike, and depending on how you play his story, he could be either a really good asset or an asset that they really want or Markovia wants. So I think it would be cool to kind of bring that in. You could tie being a Bang Baby in with being a green light victim. And not just Static, there are other characters that could be in there. I mean, you could do an Aqualad if you wanted to, or another outsider, as this season kind of implied would be getting more into outsider territory. But I think Static would be a good place to start, especially when you're bringing in more characters. That way it freshens up the show just a bit. Now, while romance and family drama will always be part of the show, I think that some new blood will just help that a bit and change the dynamics. And again, having maybe Static and Jennifer be a thing, you know, that would definitely allow her to charge him, Static to be Static, but then you have Khalil coming in and undercutting that. And you deal with the conflict of, can people truly change? Who knows, maybe this could lead to a Static TV show, because Static is all kinds of awesome, even though there are rights issues involved with that. But what do you hope for Season 3 of Black Lightning, and will you be watching the show when it returns this fall?